Russian media is not too happy with a BBC program about a hypothetical World War III scenario. A lot of Russian newspapers are calling it psychological warfare. Apparently, they believe it attracts an audience by representing Russia as the bad boy figure, saying that it's a threat to world peace. So let me give you a quick rundown. Before I show you guys a quick clip of the actual trailer for this show, I just want to tell you a little bit about what it is. So it aired last night on BBC Two, and basically it's called World War III Inside the War Room. It's about Russia. They invade Latvia, okay? They go in, they invade Latvia, and then the UK gets involved, and of course, US troops go in and move, and it becomes this World War III scenario, and then eventually Russia pushes the big red button. Nuclear war starts because of Russia. So that's basically what it's about in a nutshell. It goes much further, but that's a quick scenario. Here's a clip of the actual trailer.
American soldiers launched an offensive overnight.
What would Britain really do?
Our objective is to get the Russians out of Latvia.
On the brink of World War III.
You are edging us further and further towards Armageddon.
For the first time ever.
World teeters on the edge of it.
So as you can see, it's kind of more than just a fictional show. It's more of like a mockumentary. They use real footage. They make it look really real. And I think that's what's pissing a lot of people off. That, combined with the fact that it's clearly based off of this whole Ukrainian conflict getting out of hand. So it's based off of real stuff. And I think, you know, the Russians just see this as, you know, you're just completely painting us in the wrong way here to the whole world.
Right, so it's a hypothetical, but it's a work of fiction, but it's using and it brings in a lot of existing documentary footage, which they cleverly edit and splice in to be
really real.
Make it look as though this is reporting events as happen. It's similar to the, I don't know if you ever saw it, there's a documentary, a similar fictional documentary about the death of a president. Did you ever see that? When there was a movie about what would have happened if George W. Bush had been assassinated, and there was a whole thing. There's a movie. It's on HBO. Anyway, it reminds very much of that.
Yeah.
It's interesting that they've done this, that they've released this at the time, as you said, when relationships are so strained and the situation in Crimea, in Ukraine, is so tense. They're singling out Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania as the three countries, and they invade one of them. And this is actually based on something that could actually happen. And it is curious that they made a choice to make this program and to air it.
Yeah, I have a quick snippet. A BBC spokesperson came out in their defense and said, the fictional scenarios in this program were developed over many months of research and in consultation with a range of experts in diplomacy, security, and military strategy from all around the world. So they're kind of saying, well, in our defense, we've talked to a lot of researchers and experts, and this could totally happen, so it's okay to do it. And I personally, you know, I wouldn't normally take this stance, but I think in this situation, I kind of understand why the Russians are so upset. I mean, BBC is equally known for its fictional television shows, its own programs, but it's also perhaps, you know, one of the most reputable media sources in the world as well. Should they be mixing the two? If it was another channel, okay, but the BBC, I don't know, because the BBC kind of, in a lot of ways, represents Western media. And then you have Eastern as well on a separate block. But at the same time, it's like them kind of going out of their way to make this whole World War III scenario completely caused by the Russians. Given the political climate that we're in now, it's just it's like warmongering. It's peddling. It's not cool to me.
I don't know if it's warmongering. I don't know the extent. Listen, if anybody knows anything about the manipulation of state-run media, it's Russia. They're the past masters at it and directing the narrative. The BBC is not run by the government. It takes government money and it takes government funding. And they definitely have an agenda. They definitely have a bias, even though ostensibly they are neutral and they don't. But you just have to watch the shows and the news programs, and you can get a sense of the bias. And it tends to be, just in case you're, it tends to be left-leaning, liberal bias. But be that as it may. The other interesting thing is the fact that there's just a news report just came out just before we went on air that I saw that Russia have admitted, or it's come to light that Russia conducted a mock nuclear attack over Sweden in 2013. Coupled with US military predictions that Putin has the power to overrun Western Europe because NATO hasn't been replenishing its navy and hasn't been replenishing its military might in the same way. This could not have, I don't know whether that's connected with this. When I was just about to say it couldn't have come at a worse time, but maybe the timing, you know, the cynic in me wondering whether the timing of this is just so that it all is convened at this particular time. But certainly Russia apparently conducted a mock nuclear attack over Sweden
and
during a series of war games.
That's my whole point. I mean, look, Elliot, it's a freaking show. get over it, right? I'll be the first one to come out and say that. It's a show, get over it. But at the same time, given the political climate, given, how the media is going back and forth, I mean, their media is more biased than ours is in a lot of ways, you're right. But I mean, it's just the political climate, the timing, the fact that this show is based off of real events that are happening right now, and then they kind of stretch it out and say, like, this will lead to a World War III is kind of uncool. So I understand why they're upset, right? I understand why Russia doesn't want, to have this bad rep, which they already feel they do in the West, because they do. I mean, look at how Putin's portrayed in a lot of Western media. I'm not saying he's a perfect guy. I'm far from it.
It's also curious to me that Putin likes to be seen as a strong man of Russia and reasserting Russia's dominance and military prowess, and is always very keen to do that. And yet here is a program that ostensibly buys into that narrative and says, yes, they are the more bellicose, and here they are pushing against it. It's just kind of interesting to me that if they're not directing the narrative, they don't like it, even if the narrative is consistent with the one that they like to perpetuate.
Yeah, no one asked nobody asked Putin to put out a picture of him like topless riding a horse, which has been photoshopped of him on bears and eagles and all sorts of animals. I love those pictures. Anyways, Russia very upset at BBC's new program. What do you guys think?